Good afternoon. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 1:02 p.m. This is March 14th, 2025, the monthly meeting of the Southside Fire Station Building Committee. And we'll be working off the amended agenda. Participants who wish to speak must raise the hand icon until the chair asks them to unmute. If anyone in the audience is recording or videotaping, please acknowledge such at this time.
Mr. Chairman, Michael Roush with Bourne Enterprise on the audio recording.
Thank you, sir. Access to the meeting will be by calling the following conference line. You go onto a Zoom meeting ID at 838-4448-6379. And the password is all capital letters, SSFS. So we'll call the meeting to order. You have attendance?
We have attendance, yeah.
We have attendance, and we do have a quorum. We have 7 members present, 6 in the audience, and 1 on Zoom. So every vote will be a roll call vote.
Chairman, point of order.
Sir?
We need
Oh.
What's the roll call, the vice chair will call the meeting to order?
Okay.
I'll call the meeting to
Oh, I
order.
didn't see, I
don't
didn't see,
know.
I didn't see it there.
Okay, so we have,
I'll call the meeting of the select board to order.
okay,
Thank you. We
Thank-
have 4 present, I think.
thank you. So just making a note that there's 4 members of the selectmen here.
Okay.
And that they have called their meeting to order.
Okay.
And we have to make sure that they adjourn before we do at the end. Okay. Mr. Pomeroy, are you on, sir?
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So I had you first on the agenda because I know that I believe that you have some updated information for us.
Yes, we do. Excuse me. I'm not sure if it was circulated around or not, but I think I'll turn the reins over to our project architect, Mark Sikosho. What we've done is completed the program review with the chief in the department, as well as made some modifications to the concept plans, so we can review those with you today. And I guess everything ties together between the concept plans and the program and to the project budget. I don't know if this information was distributed to the committee or not, but we can put it up on the screen and
Do we have all of them?
You-
How many documents do you have, Rick, for today,
Well, there's a project program,
right?
which is about 44 pages.
Okay, I saw that.
Got that, yeah.
Okay, the concept site plan, which is 1 page, it's multicolored and it shows the building set on the site. And then a concept first floor plan and a concept second floor plan.
I think we did see all those.
I can share my screen and show them to you if you haven't, but
These ones.
Right.
In the audience?
Can you do it for the audience, please, Mark?
absolutely.
Okay,
Give me 1 second. Share, okay, couldn't find it, sorry.
Okay.
Excuse me, Wayne, you might want to say that the chat will not be monitored because there's someone writing in the chat, so we don't monitor the chat. We don't
okay.
announce that.
Thank you. If anybody online is chatting to us, we do not monitor that, and we do not respond to it. If you have something that you need to say, when I ask for public comment, you can raise your hand.
Can everyone see this drawing that I have up on the screen?
Yes, sir.
So this is the, again, I always preface all these drawings by we're still very, very early in the design process. That my favorite line is in the old days, these would be on yellow trace and sketches. So this is conceptual proof of concept. They test fit. That's the purpose of these drawings, to make sure that we have a project that makes sense and does fit on the site. As you all have known, at some of the other sites that we've looked at, we've gone through the same process and determined that they didn't work. So this is good. It's a good site. It's a tight site. We did give you the update at the last committee meeting, but I'll reiterate that we got good numbers on the water table and soils, so we can do a traditional nitrate type septic system. It does not have to be a raised system, which affords us, the green is really green on this plan, which would be predominantly usable, especially if the septic system is under the driveway, as you can see here. So this is, the red is the two-story, 4-bay fire station. It's 16,000 square feet. It's, as I said, 4 large bays here in the middle. Washroom, lobby, bathroom, conference, office area. So this is the sort of the working house of the station, separated for both privacy and air gap, so that we've talked about the red, yellow, green spaces, so you never want to walk from a red space to a green space without going through negative or yellow space where for the negative pressure. So this is the office concept of the office area. A small airlock, effectively, which is the corridor, and then into the day room, decon, storage, EMS, gear, air, and equipment room. You can see we have stairs in here and here to go, obviously, to the second floor. We have the second floor, which is predominantly sleeping and a wellness area. We did discuss potentially moving the wellness area, which we will look at in SD, moving that, making some changes. That is what we discussed last time. We did not make those changes yet, but there's certainly still, it's something that we'll look further as we develop the plans further. Not affecting the gross square footage, but there are 7 bunks now, which is what we talked about. As I said, the wellness area and the bunk area with the bathrooms. So there's 3 bathrooms, breakout space upstairs, more quiet space. We've been tending now to give some options for firefighters to have in the building. So some more quiet space. You could study up there if you wanted to, out of the sort of hustle bustle of the day room. So it's a secondary space for, it's not big and it's not intended to be big. So that works in that regard. And we did update the program document, which I don't have up here on the screen. I could put it up, but the program document reflects exactly what's on this plan. There's 12,000 square feet on the first floor and 4,000 square feet on the second floor. So everything does match up to the 16,000 square feet that we talked about. So that's a brief overview. We're happy to go into any more detail, any specific questions that you have.
Chief, did you have any?
No, I'm good with it.
Mark, would you please just address the importance of the decon room and fire standards, filling the oxygen tanks? I mean, these are new areas that require specific areas for it, and can you just touch on the importance of that?
Yeah, I mean, starting, so, you know, modern police design, obviously the concern has been over carcinogens over the years, that firefighters have been exposed to carcinogen from the firefighting process, the PFAS even within the gear itself. So it's important to keep your gear clean. It's important to keep the apparatus bay, which is a dirty bay, carbon monoxide and all of that, separate. So the decon is just what it says. We actually have a door from the outside. If they were at a site and they came in, they needed to come in through the apparatus bay and were contaminated or just frankly just needed to clean. The decon is where that all happens. Everything happens within that room. The gear extractor dryer, which is basically the washer dryer in a normal house, is in there. There's a bathroom in there. There's an emergency shower in there. It's intended just as it would be for decontamination. It's an essential within a building nowadays to meet NFPA standards that are required. So it's extremely important. The EMS is secure EMS medical supplies, as you would expect. The gear room is where all of the gear is stored. Again, essential that it's stored in one place, and again, in a negative pressure atmosphere. As you see the firefighters with their masks and their bottles, the Scott bottles and apparatus, air needs to be filled. It's filled here in the air station area. It's a big, giant, for lack of a better term, it's an air compressor, but it's a technical, they put the bottles and you can fill it and the like. And then the equipment room is just, again, as you would think, it could be anything, in all the equipment that's needed to, you know, help fight a fire, work on the gear, all the things that are associated with that. This is all necessities. There's no additional like nice to have stuff here. In a modern station design, this is pretty much the norm to what we need, and there's not a lot of need to, it's all need to have, it's not nice to have, so if you know what I mean, the difference. It's
Right.
Super important. It's not like if you said to take out, I could give you an example, like there are some stations that fill at other stations and bring bottles to the station. It's usually an older satellite that happens at. I've never not put it in at a new station, but just to give you an idea of those kinds of things. You must have a decon, you gotta have an EMS, you gotta have an equipment room, you gotta have a gear room. As we said, we compressed some of this area that was there before, the office and conference room, which is why we still may look at moving fitness down and the like. But there's not, I think if your question is there anything here we don't necessarily need, I would say that is not the case. I mean, there are stations that we had a lot of extra stuff for lots of reasons needed, but I would say you basically this is your, I hate to say bare essential, because I don't want you to get the impression that it's not a fully equipped station. It is, but there's not a lot of, you know, in the famous, when I ask what people want, they want the jacuzzi kind of thing. There's no jacuzzi or anything similar to a jacuzzi kind of program element in this building that is easily removed without sacrificing the day-to-day operations of the building, I guess.
Right. My reason for asking, Mark, is for those individuals that will be citizens that would like to go online and watch this meeting. If we give them an explanation of some of the changes that have been made in this document, it will help them understand the need that the fire department in the town of Bourne has.
Mr. Chairman, can I add something to what Mark has described?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. This is Rick Conway. So I don't want to, I want to make sure that it's clear to everybody that's watching this or may view it later, what Mark was describing earlier, the importance of the different zones, in the sense that the red zone is primarily the zones that a firefighter can access. Say if you were coming back from an event, those are the red zones. The firefighters' travel would be if they happen to be in a scenario where they were impacted by the event, would return and immediately go into decon and leave their gear, strip their gear, and they would not, by course, would not want to go into the yellow or green areas until it was safe to pass. So it's really a cleansing of the gear, it's a cleansing of the firefighter, and making them allowing them to go into the safe zone. So that's why Mark has these separated like this, because they're almost like airlocks, and there are different pressures in different areas with the HVAC system. But what the modern day facilities have is a resource for the firefighter to immediately get the decon before they do anything else in the station, and that's what this design provides. And there isn't a door shown to the exterior, but there would be one from the exterior into the decon as well. Is that right, Mark?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Chief, could you touch on the issue of the individual bunk rooms? We understand it's not 30 years ago where they only had one room. Now that they have individual rooms, yes, it's for privacy, but there's also health concerns as well as this, when you have to staff up for some type of event.
Correct. That was one of the things that came out of, as you, like you said, the privacy is a big part of it. But also, through the COVID pandemic, everyone had to isolate in their rooms, and giving each individual employee their own space helped us to contain everything and keep everybody safe. So you don't want to be in an enclosed space with another person sharing that bunk room. And as you touched on too, when we have a storm, whether it's winter storms, hurricanes, anything like that, nor'easters, we always increase our staffing, and this would give us the ability to maintain that separate sleeping area for the personnel working during the storms as well, and not doubling up. Because right now, whether it was the old Pecasford station, we had 3 bunks and potentially up to 6 or 7 people staying in that space. Same thing right now with the trailer.
Okay.
So it'll also allow for future expansion down the road of additional full-time staff.
I'd also like to add that all of the bunks and labs are completely gender neutral, which is a problem we have in other facilities that have been built where locker rooms are not properly sized now for the staff that we are actually employing. So it is a completely flexible space for however the department is staffed.
And Rick or Mark, could you just confirm for us that in most of the buildings that you're making now, they are all gender neutral, or a lot of them are?
99%, the only one of late, and actually it was in Waltham, we did double bunks. It's probably the only station I've done in the last 10, 15 years that had double bunks. And the only reason they did it, it's a very, very big station, and the only reason they did it was emergency doubles. So they said, we're gonna build the rooms with 2-person occupancies, but day to day they're occupied singly. And then in a storm or an incident, they would double up, and it's the only reason we did it. So we virtually never ever do, only for those reasons that we would do a double.
Okay, thank you. Chief, could you address the issue of the garage area and the number of vehicles that we currently have on this side of the bridge, and any anticipated changes you might have to make there?
So as they said, it's essentially 4 double deep bays, so 8 bays for 8 apparatus. Currently on that side of the bridge, we house 2 fire engines, 2 ambulances, a car. So that takes up 5 of the spots right there. We normally keep a brush vehicle over on that side, but during the winter, we have to move it back to this side and store it indoors because we don't have the garage space for it. So that would be able to stay on the other side. And then our boat as well, right now, when we take it out for the winter, we have to store it in Buzzards Bay rather than indoors so that it's ready to go, rather than shrinking it. So when this station opens, we'll have 7 of the 8 bays without adding any apparatus to the station.
Okay.
And we'll be able to keep what's needed on that side of the bridge.
So how many vehicles are you gonna put inside here now?
There'll be 2 engines,
2 engines?
2 ambulances,
There's 4?
an SUV for the lieutenant,
Yep. 5,
a brush truck,
6,
and during the winter, the boat,
7. All right.
right off the bat.
So as an example, right now, if we got a call today and you needed the boat over here, how long would it take you to get the boat from Buzzards Bay over to Kingman or Bowers Landing?
So most likely, we'd put it in over here in Buzzards Bay at the marina here and then launch it. go that way. It would be quicker to take
It'd
it
be quicker
that way.
by water?
I think so, because then we wouldn't have to deal with traffic bridge implications.
Okay.
Normally, it's during the during the spring, summer, fall, it's stored in Monument Beach. So ideally, once we take it out for the winter on that side, it'll be easier to take it right down there.
Gene?
You said you had to deflate it as well?
We have inflatable boats, as small inflatable
But to
boats.
store it?
No, we did
Okay.
not. No, we would winterize it in the past and store it outside. We
Gotcha.
kind of made the move to store it indoors now because most of the communities around us, everyone's pulling their boats out for the winter. So to have it in service if we need it, because we try to keep it in as long as we can, but once the docks are out at Monument Beach, we still have duck season, there's people on the water, there's shellfishermen, there's stuff like that. So it's something we need access to year-round.
Okay. And what will the impact of the bridge construction over the next 10-year period mean for this station?
Well, regular routine bridge construction impacts us. So something of this scale would be even more significant, which is why it's more important to have the storage and the equipment over there already, rather than having to come from this side of the bridge.
So when we saw the Sagamore Bridge construction in the spring of '24, there were times where ambulance response due to the gridlock under the Sagamore Bridge at those lights, that we were seeing a plus 10-minute, plus 12-minute impact.
Wow.
Just looking ahead, Chief, the possibility of renting a ladder truck for the south side? Because getting a ladder truck from Sagamore to Catawba, it's going to take a while.
And that's another reason that we are making sure that the bays
Yeah.
are enough that it could do that it could hold the ladder truck as well.
So I was gonna say, if you had to, you could use one double bay for a ladder truck.
Yes.
So you have the flexibility for the future.
Correct.
Built in.
Yes.
Great. Rick or Mark, did you have anything else on that particular slide?
No, I took it down, I'm happy to put it back up.
No, I'm fine, unless anybody else has any question with it. Dustin?
Yeah, could they put it back up for 1 minute, please?
Yeah, Mark, could you please? Did you want to? You have a question?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
1 second. Here you go.
Do you have a kitchen?
It's upstairs.
No, the kitchen and dining area will be incorporated in the day room.
Yeah.
Okay, because if you're, like the chief has mentioned, that we have a hurricane or anything of that thing, the guys can be there for a week, and they gotta be able to feed them. That's all I was interested.
The day room consists of, actually, you can see it in the space needs piece, but the day room is all of that. It's the kitchen, the dining, the pantry, and the day room. So that's 800 square feet, so that all is within that space. So I haven't delineated any of that yet. So like I said, these are still preliminary in that sense.
And we are, we are planning on, cabinetry for each of the groups. So there will be, people will have plenty of storage for their belongings when they're reporting for duty. So each group will have a set of cabinetry, and they'll be able to, keep things the way they want to.
Excellent.
Yeah, within that pantry that I talk about, we put in separate lockable pantries so that each group or shift can have their own private stash, let's say.
Okay, Lieutenant first, and then Peter.
Oh, no, Gene, no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The committee before me.
You can go ahead.
Go ahead.
And before we get too far away from square footage and space needs, could you address the space needs and square footage based on what's on either side of the canal, especially if we're talking about shutting down, both stations combined on one side and,
I can do that.
yeah, and if
Okay, sure.
Marlene has those numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, so I can, so if you think about kind of fire station square footage on the north side versus the south side. The north side has Sagamore, which is 24,000 square feet. The north side has Station 1, Buzzards Bay, which is 8,121 square feet. So if you're looking at how much fire station area we have to support the population on the north side, it's 32,121 square feet. So we're proposing one station on the south side at 16,000 square feet, which, you know, like Mark said, this is a fully functional station, but it is compact. You know, we know we have a small site. We are being very efficient with our footprint. So even though, you know, roughly, you know, we're roughly at half the square footage proposed for the south side that we maintain on the north side.
And to follow up on that too, all of the spaces outside of, all the red spaces outside of the apparatus bay, none of that exists on the south side right now at all. So no decon area, no EMS equipment storage, no breathing apparatus, no equipment storage, and no real gear storage. So any of the stuff, if we run anything outside of a routine medical call, any equipment they need, they have to go to Sagamore after the call, which takes them out of their response district. They go to Sagamore to restock equipment. Breathing equipment, they have to go to either Buzzards Bay or Sagamore to refill the breathing bottles. And same thing, our crib room of equipment is only in Sagamore. Spare hose, spare tools, spare everything. There's not, so anytime anything gets damaged, they have to go out of the district, back to this side of the bridge.
But that's all been taken into consideration here.
Exactly, which is why that needs to be there. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
Just had a couple questions. Is it possible to build square footage out over the apparatus? And secondly, I don't see any room for storage or laundry on the second floor for personnel, linens or uniforms or anything like that.
I think there's lockers outside.
Yeah, there's, each one of these has a locker space. These, there would be
There he is.
4 lockers in each of these areas. And then there is, linen is planned to be up in this area as well. There would be a laundry up here as well. There's room within the baths, the square footage I've allotted for the baths and that. So good question, and yes, but it is included.
Is the laundry gonna take away from the wellness? Is that what? Where were you just pointing? I didn't see the mouse there, sorry.
Yeah, there's enough room up there to accommodate that as well.
Okay.
Mark, if I'm correct, before you walk into each bunk area, there's a set of 2 double lockers?
Yeah, so I'll zoom in here. So this is a design we use quite often, that there's 2 lockers here, and that the benefit of them being outside the room is if somebody comes off shift, they can get in their lockers, they don't have to disturb anybody within the bunk area if they're sleeping or it's night, whatever, come back from a call. So it's private, but yeah, it works very well.
Because we're still in, I mean, preliminary, we haven't even gone to schematic. We have the house laundry accounted for in our space needs plan. It just hasn't, you know, everything just hasn't been moved around yet.
Okay.
That's already a clean linen washer dryer, 150 square feet. So we do have it accounted for. As I said, we're still in this kind of sketch mode, but it's a good question. It's fair. It's you know.
And
as we develop the drawings more, you'll see a lot more detail.
And Mark, the answer to Kyle's first question is no, right? There's no building out over the bays. There's going to
We
be
do not.
fans and, you know,
Correct.
sprinkler
There is-
systems.
Correct. There is no overbuild on the apparatus bay. We need the height to do it. And I'm not saying you can't do it in a design. We have done it in the design. We try to avoid it because the spaces, you're basically up 24 feet. So big stairs, not as accessible. We try not to do that.
So the operational living square footage is what it is.
Correct, yeah.
Peter?
For ADA, you're not required to do an elevator at all?
So, as the job description within the fire department, a firefighter has to be ambulatory. We get waivers for the elevator on just about every station that we do. The only time you have to have an elevator is if you were to do a training or office space on the second floor that would need to be accessible.
And under today's standards, is a fire pole are they considered obsolete in today's fire service?
So of the last 15 plus stations, there is a funny story associated with this one, but we did put one in at Waltham, but everywhere else, most of your insurance groups do not like them.
Injuries?
There's some that would argue they're safer than the stairs, but your insurance carriers generally are saying no to a fire pole. So we did not put them in. I've only put one in a long time.
And the last one is on the first floor. Is there a triage area? Someone comes in as a walk-in, so you don't have to dirty or an ambulance, that may have to go out on a service, on a call, especially if you have staffing for multiple, more staffing, so the ambulance is out. Like I said, is there a triage area, or do fire departments do not use triage rooms in stations?
Can I have the chief address that?
Yeah.
Basically, the foyer area is gonna work, and then the ambulance. We have one of those that was built in Sagamore, and in the entire time it's been open, it's never been used once.
Okay.
We always go right to the ambulance. We have everything we need right there. I don't see the value in it, in this case.
So I just read an article on having a triage area in new fire stations. And the big concern that they were raising is if you advertise it to the public and you don't have it properly staffed, and somebody runs to the fire station with a real emergency and there's nobody there, there's the possibility of liability that you advertise that come here, we'll triage it, but there's nobody there because you don't have the personnel. So I think it's something that we have to be very, very careful of. Obviously, if you are there and somebody comes in, you can help them, but you don't want to say, open 24 hours.
We make house calls. We would prefer people don't come to us.
Right, yeah, okay. Gene?
I was gonna say, if you build it, they will come, so.
Yeah.
Be careful what you wish for, but, it would be helpful with some of these plans if the public versus, the staff spaces were kind of delineated, so people understand, the conference room and some of these are designed for trainings and not necessarily for
Public.
people to come in off the street and use. That would be helpful here, and additionally, on the flip side with the concept plans too, if you would do some hash marker, kind of distinguish the areas, even in the bubbles, there's colors for which ones you're highlighting in your discussion, but also keep hash marks as something to demonstrate the clean versus, decontamination spaces versus not, and kind of align that so people have a better locus when they're looking at those.
So, the public-private, we could, in essence, the only real public space in this building is the lobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yep.
There's no other public space within and we could certainly make that a different color. The decon, EMS, that's all basically firefighting, and I can further delineate it, but I'm not exactly sure where I draw that line.
No, if you highlight which areas are public, that's fine, just so people that are looking at these for the first time understand. The question about the elevator and so on.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so, Jean, with this substation, the public area is the lobby, and that's the extent of it. The red is dirty, the green is clean, and then the yellow is the transition. So, we want to keep the contaminants in the red area and out of the bunks, out of the kitchen, out of the day room. We have no non-firefighter space on the second floor. So we will be seeking that waiver of the, for the elevator through ABB. So, I mean, this really truly is for, this entire building is for fire department use only, for all intents and purposes.
Right. And that makes total sense. Some of the research that I've done, and Mark or Peter, you can correct me, but generally they're getting away from public space at fire departments. And the problem is, there's a lot of very valuable, expensive equipment in there. There's narcotics and other supplies for the EMS and the ambulance. And if everybody has to run out, you can't kick people out of the station. So you have an unsecure building with people walking around, and it's not recommended anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and we often have the conversation about the triage, and whoever said, you build it and they will come, is exactly what the issue is, that you really don't want people coming here as an emergency room. You want them to go to an appropriate emergency room or hospital. You really want to discourage people. Obviously, if it's a true emergency and you're the closest, but you really want to discourage people. You're not really a triage facility. You're going to be, obviously, and what typically happens at every station is just as the chief, I think, described, is that they'll be assessed, and if it's a true emergency, they're going to get put in the ambulance and taken out, stabilized and taken out. It's not. But you don't want to be the first response in that sense here. Generally speaking, that's most of the, it's pretty consistent across all the stations we work at.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Sir?
So, some of the comments that we've received, all of the comments have been excellent thus far, and I think what we'll be doing is making some modifications to the drawings to sort of pick up on those comments, and then submitting those. In doing so, I would recommend that, Mark, we add in the equipment into the apparatus floor plan, so that the public can see the different pieces of equipment, the engines, the brush breaker, ambulances, so on and so forth. It'll give a little bit better feel for that space. So
We're just, not to interrupt, we're just finalizing the actual equipment and its sizes. As soon as we finalize all that, we'll put it in.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Rick, because when we built the DPW, they gave us a print with all the equipment in place where it would be, and we had to make some changes. But if they hadn't done that, we wouldn't have realized the difference that had to be made.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, I think we're all set on this document.
JC himself.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, certainly.
I just have two comments. I think this is, I think we've come a long way since the last meeting, so thank you very much. I do agree with Jean that the lobby color, if you can make it blue, just to note that that's a public area, because there has been in the past discussion about, you know, a south side conference room available at the fire station, and I just don't want there to be confusion that that office conference room, if it's intended to be just a fire station working area and not public, I think leaving it as green but having the lobby as blue, I just think it would be helpful.
100%, that's fine, we can do that, yeah.
Yeah, and the yellow, from what I can see, is not really showing yellow, but maybe it's because I'm just on Zoom. The other thing is, like, currently the program, and I'm sure you're gonna like review all the program stuff, but currently the program is showing 780 feet of wellness on the first floor. So it does actually bump up the number to the first floor to 13,000 square feet on the program, the last one I saw, and then the second floor is 3,000, so just, you know, I like things to match, so, you know, that's my thing. And the only other comment is in the description of the program, the equipment maintenance, it says it's like 2,600 square feet instead of the 260 that we have there, so it's just a typo, so. But thank you very much. I think this is very helpful to me in understanding exactly what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Rick, what document would you like to look at next?
Well, do we need to go through the program? I don't think that, it's 44 pages, it's pretty detailed. It's all been updated, and we can check those items that were just mentioned.
I mean, it's basically the same program, just updated with new information that, as to where we are today.
Correct.
What we did was update it to further, closer reflect the actual design at that point.
Okay, great.
So,
Okay,
if that's okay, I would recommend, well, I guess it's gonna be your decision, what additional documents you wanna add. And if you'd like, I can share my screen. What we presented to your group, at our last meeting was, the, budget.
before you get, Rick, before you get to the budget, could you put the site plan back up, please?
Mark, can you,
Mark?
Hang on. Sorry, let's get back in. Every time I take it off, I'm too quick. Sorry.
Oh, I apologize.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, can we talk about this a little bit, so that any of the residents that might be viewing it and listen understand what the plan is for the operation of the department within that area? So, whoever wants to explain it, are there doors front and rear?
So I'll go over it. So
Right.
So the orientation is the same as the plan. So.
Oh, okay.
The gray you're seeing out front here is the apron, which I'll zoom back and forth, it's probably easier. So that's this apron, which is just that. It's where the apparatus is stored during the daytime for maintenance, cleaning, things like that. This is public parking here to access, again, limited amount of space, one handicap and probably two spaces. Two, if anybody has any business at the station, reps or visitors or anything in the like. This road is the access to the rear, which is firefighter parking, some additional equipment, storage, dumpsters and the like. So there is access side and front and rear. There would be a door here under this stair as well to access the building. And then the green is essentially grass or some landscape area. Some of it maybe would be a generator out here somewhere, a transformer pad, probably over here coming into the electric room and the like. So gray is paving, red is building, and green is ground, for lack of a better term.
We will have a fuel depot on site. So there will, it hasn't been located yet, but we will be locating a small fuel depot for fire department only.
Okay. Oh, Lieutenant?
Do we have any spots for in-house training, on-grounds training, such as a roof prop or a training tower, anything like that?
We haven't delineated any locations for that. If they were to be added, we certainly could. There is room for them if you wanted.
You're talking about future growth?
No, I'm talking about when we build it,
Right now?
having a prop or something out there, yeah.
Okay.
Right now, we have not included any of that. We certainly can.
I was gonna say, a big part of that was not gonna be having the space to do that based on the septic. Now that things have changed, we can look at down the road, but that's nothing that's part of this right now, so.
So the gray area in front, that's gonna be the entrance to the bays?
This is the entrance to the base, police, fire only, and then this is public parking, and that's that entrance door right here.
Okay. So could you discuss the apron and the turning radius of the vehicles? Will it be blocking the travel part of the roadway? How's that gonna look?
So the reason we set the building back and set back 60 feet, even a large ladder, might be, a big ladder could be 50 feet, maybe, is the absolute biggest, but if it had a tiller and everything, they could be 50, 55, so every piece of equipment is held and maintained within the property line, so nothing goes in the road. So the biggest piece of equipment was pulled out, it would still fit in the apron. Equipment is, sometimes stored on the outside during the day, easier access, quicker, a lot of reasons. And then there is plenty of turning radius to get in either direction on Clay Pond Road coming out of the station. So they come out and they have plenty of room to make those movements, as we call them, out and onto the main road in either direction.
Okay, so smaller vehicles, such as, pickup trucks, maybe even the ambulances, they could actually enter that apron area, swing around inside without going onto the main road, and then be able to back in.
Yeah, certainly the ambulances, the SUVs would. The engines and the ladder, I know we don't have a ladder here now, but the engines, there's probably not enough room. They would typically come in, back in.
Right.
Chief can describe that better than I, if you would like.
Yeah, he's pretty much spot on. And depending on what that looks like with that parking area in the front too, we may be able to nose in that way and go, but, yep.
Right, yeah.
And we have multiple people that stop traffic as needed to let us back in.
And you're familiar with that at all the other stations, you do it already.
Main Street,
It's
every
not,
time.
it's not changing the concept that you have for station operation.
Nope.
Okay, I mean, I just want to put it on the table that this is a possibility. Everybody's aware of it and that they're gonna address it appropriately. Do you have a question, Peter?
Well, you may have said it already, and I just didn't hear it. But what's the side setback on the right-hand side? How wide is it?
The right-hand side, I think it's 20.
I think we're right at the limit.
No, we're actually the blue line, which I did not describe, the blue line is the setback line, and I think we're 15 feet off the sideline. I can tell you in 1 second. The dimension seems not to be showing, so 151 minus 30 minus 107. Yeah, we're 14 feet off the side.
That's on an unsurveyed plan.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. thank you for
don't, that is plus or minus.
Right. Will we need any zoning board or appeal
Yes.
board variance?
Yes.
Okay, for what?
Yeah, so, as I said, the blue line are the current setbacks on the property. So we're encroaching on right and left, potentially. Again, as Marlene said, we are dealing with non-surveyed. This is off of the GIS mapping, plus or minus is a good thing. We obviously pretty sure they're close, but, so we would need setback. With height-wise, we're okay. It's just, the two side setbacks
Lot coverage.
and lot coverage. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions about this one? Thank you very much, sir. Okay. The one that everybody's been waiting for.
Well, I think I'm gonna hold you in suspense for a bit and, just talk about schedule real quick, if that's okay.
Sure, certainly.
This is the, can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is the draft master plan schedule, and if everything goes as planned, we're sitting here in March right now. We've completed the operations and programming refresh, and the plan represents that. The pre-demolition survey has been completed, assessment for the building. We had originally slated that for April, but that's complete now. We have an annual town meeting in the first part of May, the ballot question, the last third week in May, and assuming we have an approval to proceed, we could begin design and getting this project ready for bid right after that point. We would go through a schematic design refinement period from June and July, and we would be doing estimates. So we talked about this the other day. We're going to be doing check estimates all along the way. As the design is refined and more detail is provided in the documents, we'll be doing check estimates. Our first one would be a schematic design estimate in mid-July, and at which time we would provide an updated project budget. And then we would also begin our permitting in July and carry that straight through to the completion of design with the different departments. Our goal would be to be complete with the design development phase, which is, there's 3 different phases to the production of the documents. Schematic design, which is, we'll do some schematic design refinement after we're approved to proceed. Kind of an early schematic, conceptual right now. And then after schematic design is called the design development phase, which is, takes about 3 months to complete. At the completion of the design development phase, we'll do another estimate, another check estimate, to make sure we're staying on track. And then we would be entering into what's called the construction document phase, which is completing the documents that are of a suitable quality for the contractors to bid on the project with absolute certainty. That's a 4-month process, and we may decide at the end of that to do a check estimate at about 75% CD estimate, construction document estimate, and our goal would be to be out on the street the end of January, first part of February for bidding. If all goes well, we could be awarding a project by mid-April, with a completion in October, November of 2027. So as you can see, we're really at the very early stages of this development plan, and our construction duration we're estimating to be somewhere between 14 and 16 months. So I would recommend it. It's not really up to you if you want to include this in your package and your information for the website, but I think it tells a good story. So I don't know if anybody has any questions on this. I can move to the budget sheet.
Any questions from the board?
No.
Ready? Anybody with a hand up? No? I don't see anything.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Gene?
I guess my only question is just keeping in mind that it would be nice to have some things, we need to have things ready before the town meeting date
Right.
itself. You know, whatever documents when the,
Well, I think the committee needs to tell us what you need
Yeah.
for town meeting.
yeah.
Well,
Okay, I think we're going to touch on that in a couple minutes.
Yep.
all right.
All right?
Okay. So the next document
Yes, sir.
is the budget, which is the same budget we had discussed at our last meeting.
Okay?
It reflects 16,000 square feet of facility.
Rick, is that 16 plus or minus?
Well, this has.
Pretty close.
Is 16,000.
Okay.
It's 16,000 even because we're using a square footage estimate of what, 850?
Yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're estimating the cost based on a 16,000 square foot building.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry, Rick, go ahead.
So that's, as Marlene had indicated, we're estimating that at about $850 a square foot. The demolition is not included in this budget. That would be completed by the town. And there is soils import that'll help us with our construction costs overall. That'll be completed by the town. We've included fuel depot, and we've also included escalation at a rate of 5% for the next year, from the time that this was put together to February when we would be bidding it, 2026, for a total hard cost of $14,490,000. We do have a contingency for the hard costs, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Below that is the owner's development cost, or soft costs. And I don't know if we need to go through each one of the line items, but it carries all of the components of the facility, the cost of design, project management, the different consultants that would be involved with the project, all the way through furnishings and equipment, all the way decon equipment. It covers everything that you'll need for the facility. So the budget is an all-in number. Some of these numbers are based upon recent purchases at other facilities. Some of them are allowances, so that because the exact components haven't been determined. But the total soft costs are estimated to be an additional, on top of the hard costs, an additional $2,657,000. Below that, we add in contingencies at this point. We have a 5% owner's soft cost contingency, so that 5% is applied to the owner's soft cost. And then we have a 10% hard cost contingency. So between the two, we have just about, almost $1.6 million in contingencies. And those are for all of the items that we don't know at this point, because we're in the early preliminary stage of this project. So the total cost, including soft cost, hard cost, and contingencies, is laid out at just under $18,800,000. It's $18,728,850. And that's it in an overview. I don't know if you want to put this on your website in your marketing material or not, but this is what we looked at our last meeting.
Gene? Okay, I think we'll have that in a discussion here in a couple minutes of what's going to go on the website type thing. Okay, but so all of these numbers are updated as the discussion we had last time, and with any changes you've made now.
Mm-hmm. Yes. This document really hasn't changed. What did change was the program and the building plan.
Okay, thank you. And you're projecting a 5% escalation over next year?
That's what we're projecting at this point.
So, and not that I'm good at math. I mean, if this was to get delayed by 6 months or so, you're talking almost 450,000 escalation over that 6 months period?
Yeah, we've experienced this in the past with other communities. Anytime you delay the project, you're going to be facing a level of escalation. And 3 or 4 years ago, unforeseen, we saw escalation in the double digits. In 1 year, it was almost 14.5%. So the average escalation is estimated at 5% as we stand right now. What we have found is that the numbers have not come down. In the last 20 years, escalation has continued to rise. Construction costs has continued to rise. Labor costs, and we've never seen a de-escalation. So the longer you wait, the more expensive it gets.
Okay. Do you have anything else to present to us at the moment?
That's it.
Okay. I would appreciate it if you don't go yet, because we might have some other things to bring up as we start talking about documents. Does anybody else have anything on these documents? Or do you want to move on?
No.
Ready? Good. Okay, let's move to item number 4, and this is discussion, possible vote on forming a fire station marketing committee. I know that I've had conversation with the chief over the last several weeks. I have spoken to Gene, and one of the things that, looking at all the documents that are there, thank you, Chief, for giving me Lakeville. I was also aware of Auburn. They're both in doing station builds right now. They have done a lot of work. They have tremendous websites with a tremendous amount of information. The question is, can we do something equally as nice in the time that we have? One of the things I did was I went through both websites. I made a list of all common documents in both, and then a list of other items that one might have had that we would probably want to add in ours as well. So I think we have a jump start here. I did speak to the chief earlier this morning about, I'm going to call them PowerPoint presentations, but I know that's not the right term, but some of the website presentations. Now, Rick, I noticed that both you and Mark were involved in Lakeville's project?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Did you do those website designs for them, or did they do that on their own?
We provided the information and documents, and they provided, developed their website.
Okay. So I saw a lot of really good documents in there, such as the tax rate computations, the debt exclusion calculators for people to figure out. Are those things that you had, or is that general knowledge information?
So-
That came from town accountant.
So I've sent those to you.
Yes, I have them.
Okay, yeah.
I think they're great to have, and I
Yes.
think that will answer a lot of questions for a lot of residents. So, I mean, I would have no problem putting them up there, but as long as we know where they came from.
Yes.
They're great information.
Yes.
So, for the committee, what is your thought on, are you comfortable with us forming a subcommittee of 3, maybe 4 max, but 3 people that can represent different groups and really see how much we can get together over the next 2 or 3 weeks? Because we certainly want this up in April. Yeah. It has to be up in April. Any comments from the committee?
No.
Okay, are you comfortable with us doing it? Okay, so I'm taking volunteers. I would like, obviously, I'm willing to serve on it. I'm willing to write up a lot of the background information, things like that. My opinion, I'm going to recommend that either the chief or the chief and the lieutenant help out. I'm going to call that 1, because of any questions of a technical nature regarding the fire department or the service or their needs has to come from their perspective and what the design is and what the need is. So I really want them there. And I would like Gene to serve on it as a member of the Board of Selectmen and our representative to the Selectmen, because it's a direct sharing of information there as well. Are you comfortable with that, or?
Okay.
There's a hesitation here.
In reflecting, we're running out of time.
Right.
And seeing as though it took us a while to even get together today, I think if we just put our heads together as a committee and you have good guidance and you can get advice from the chief, the 2 of you can put your heads together and you can bounce ideas off me separately. I think that's easier at this point, because we can do a lot of good work if we just can start a meeting and get together before we have to post things. And
Okay.
we did a really good job preparing for this meeting, and then
Yep.
we don't have to worry about nominations and agendas and minutes and posting another committee meeting
One
in the
thing,
meantime.
I'm okay.
okay, one thing we should do, or asked to do, is come up with 3D drawings to put in, one in Town Hall and one at a fire station, and to present at town meeting. We found that all the other buildings we did, everyone looked like this. Can you show me a picture? You know, that's all basically the older people were looking at.
Right.
So,
And,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
no.
We cannot do that for this town meeting. You have not done schematic design yet. You don't have elevations.
Well, I'm not looking for that. I'm looking more like from a view from the street, the 2 levels, and a pretty picture. Hand, you know, like we got here. They can't look at these pictures and make sense.
But we don't have a building design yet. We don't have a roof design. We don't know if it's a gable. We don't know if it's a hip. We don't have materials yet. Is it cedar shingle siding? Is it brick? We no.
Trim?
Is it what?
Purple trim?
Is it a flat roof? We don't have.
No flat roofs in
we-
this
No,
town.
no.
We haven't had any of those discussions yet. Whatever, if we put up a picture, it would be misleading.
I can appreciate what you're saying, because I had a contract, design and build contracting business, and my greatest talent, I think, for helping people out was to just take a picture of their house, get a piece of trace, and throw up, you know, a pencil sketch of this is what things are gonna look like. But, you know, when you try and, people just latch on to some of that stuff too, and it is
Well,
gonna change.
My problem was with all of them is I want to see something for my money. You know, you're asking people for what? Close to $18 million?
No more.
More, like closer to 20.
That's your problem.
18,
It is not my problem.
we need a fire station.
My job.
I can appreciate that, yeah.
Yes, Carol?
I'm having trouble getting my hand raised thing to work, all kinds of computer problems.
Sure.
But I must agree with the former member who spoke out, that you need something at town meeting, because people just don't seem to get it unless you have something. I mean, they're voting all this money for something, and if they don't have, I think just the site plan would even be very effective. I'm very impressed by it. It's not so unreasonable and pie in the sky as we started out, you know, which I think is a good thing. And it's just basically what we need. And I think if you even just had the site plan there, even though, you know, they may not totally understand it, it just means something.
Right.
You know, they feel more involved.
Yes. We can definitely take care of something like that.
You have you have site plans and you have preliminary floor plans. We do not have elevations
Yeah,
yet.
it's a 3D thing,
Right, but we can certainly get poster board and have these blown up and have them in the lobby.
But that is not what Dusty's asking for.
No, I know that. No, I know. I'm saying, I understand why we can't have them. I've already moved on and said, okay, what can we substitute with it? And I'm taking Carol's opinion to meet Dusty's need, and knowing that Gene is saying, okay, let's just cross-talk instead of, it'll be quicker. Okay.
I would say the
Go ahead, Gene. Gene first.
the concept bubbles on the needs plans, if you can even move some of those around so that it makes more sense where they fit into each other.
I don't know what you mean by concept.
The bubbles they have in the long document where it talks about the needs and the spaces, there's
Oh, the program
diagrams.
document?
Yeah, there's just diagrams of something like that kind of shows where the designs come from. That's on the website as well?
It is on, the
Yeah.
program is on the
Yeah,
website,
so if we
yes.
fine tune that a little bit, you know, when people go from the site floor plan and they go through those and they look at the rooms, they're kind of understanding in a bigger. Less confusing. Yeah, a little less confusing, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Peter?
Yes, I realize why we can't have in-depth drawings for right now, and the information that we saw was submitted today, that we saw today, on top of other things that are on the web, and this information is going to be updated as close as you get to town meeting. The key is gonna be is having all this information online so someone has a place to go to. Because you as a committee will be doing it together and working hard, and the fire department as well. But us out in the community are gonna be asked questions, so I wanna know where I can send people to and say, go on the website, or you can go, you can go in the town hall or maybe in the fire station and meet with someone that may be able to answer your question, as it comes up. It's just outreach. It's just getting the word out there and educating the public, because the one thing we can't do is rush it too fast, and then we go to town meeting, and if we're not prepared and we don't look like we're prepared, it's gonna be doomed before it even starts. So by everybody being on the same page, doing your homework, because this fire station is not overdue for 50+ years. The firefighters in the condition they're in now are not normal conditions, and they're doing the best they are with it. This station, as proposed, is a no-frills station that will get them to today's standard, which is what they need. And so we need to, provided that it's affordable and everything else, we need to get behind this and educate the public and do our best to get this approved, because the firefighters have been long, and paramedics have been long overdue for it on that side of the canal. And the longer we wait, the more expensive it's going to be, and you don't know with the Trump tariffs how much more it's going to be if those things are implemented as materials come across from Canada. So the sooner that we get something approved, provided that it's a practical and it looks like it's a reasonable thing, then we won't be hurting the taxpayer, but at the same time we'll be helping out the firefighters at the same time.
Okay, I agree, and we will, I will work with the chief and the lieutenant. We'll try to get a meeting set up early next week, depending on their schedules.
17, 19.
17 and 19. Okay. All right, so we'll talk offline and try to set up a meeting ASAP.
Two of you.
Yeah. These two are one.
Twins.
Yeah, they're twins, but, no, I mean,
The cuter one.
You're gonna have a quorum.
Yeah.
Huh?
You're gonna have a quorum.
With two. Yeah.
They're not one.
No.
They're two
Yeah,
seats.
oh, yeah.
No, he's saying or, not and.
Or, okay, or.
And or.
Got it. Interchangeable. Thank
And
you.
or. Depending on what topic we're talking about.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And I did, and just to add, the website, when you look at the Southside Fire Station link, it says documents, and the needs is the first thing you can click on to see some of this, and, it's always, I'm always on my phone looking too, so there's nothing on the homepage that screams, hey, click here for the Southside Fire Station documents, so maybe even a link.
Who is our contact at Town Hall to get documents on the website?
You need to go through the fire department.
Okay,
Great.
perfect.
That's easy enough.
Okay. He'll handle all of that. All right, so we're not gonna vote on forming a subcommittee, but we are gonna get moving right away on developing this. And Rick, if we need anything from you, we'll reach out to you. Any of the documents that we've seen on other websites, you might have some of that information?
Can you give an example of what you're referring to?
Right now, short of the budget, everything is pretty much up there. We have the program needs, the floor plan, and as long as these are all the updated, we've got the program, the plans, the fit plan, the schedule, and then it gets into even the geotech. The only thing that's not up there is the budget, and I don't know if we want to put that up.
Yeah, we're waiting for feedback from you about whether you want to put that very early preliminary budget up or not.
We'll look like a fool if it comes out 21 million.
Well, you're not gonna have 21 million.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
that's the number, that's the budget that you're
President
gonna be
Trump isn't
asking
done
for at
with
town
us yet.
meeting.
That
Well-
doesn't matter, right?
I have no problem putting it up yet in case something changes over the next month or so. But don't we have to, once we start talking about going to town meeting and taking a vote, I mean, that budget has to be out there public at some point, right? Or are we just giving them a number?
They're gonna,
That's your,
I think
that's
they're
your
gonna wanna know what they're
decision.
getting for that.
Right.
So when do we put it out?
Do you wanna take a vote?
Well, before we take a vote, let's talk about, I mean, what's the thought process here? I mean, are we afraid by putting it out now, people are gonna, or it might change? Or are we afraid that they're gonna start picking it apart?
We could also come up, put it on a next, we can discuss.
Next
what-
agenda?
Or discuss what documents we want to put up there now, and let's put it up. We have everything except the budget, so we should just decide today, that's it. If the numbers aren't changing,
Okay. So, do you want to talk about some of the preliminary documents that we want to put up there? In a package for town meeting planning?
Everything is on the website except for the budget
yeah.
And the impact, we wanna,
and the tax impact.
Right.
Those are the two questions.
That's what we have to decide.
Do you want to put those on the website as is? Do you want to put them on the website in a different form that you create? Or do you not want to put them on the website?
So,
So I guess my question is, if we go and we ask for the 18, or 19, we'll say 19 just for easy numbers, 19 million, and then things happen with all the trade and cost of items go up, what happens then?
So you have a budget of $18.8 million. If you go out to bid and your bids come back at $20 million, we can't award the contract. So you either go back out to bid and hope the market is more favorable, you redesign something to make your building less expensive, or you go back to town meeting. Those are your three options. But you are asking town meeting and you're asking the voters in May for $18.8 million.
The more people see, I think the
And
easier decision.
I don't see where you can cut anything in that fire station. They've got it down to the basics. What they need, to get compliance and everything else. So I think we gotta live with that. It's just, we haven't got a crystal ball that's gonna tell us, what's gonna happen in 8 months from now.
No. Right. And I think for that reason, I think if we're asking the customers for that money, they wanna know what they're getting for that. Where'd we come up with this number? Because that's gonna be a question.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just looking at the budget that we gave us last meeting and what we've looked at, on the soft cost and the hard cost, there's 1.5 million that is a cushion,
Contingency.
and that's already in the 18.8 million.
Right.
So I don't have an issue, putting the budget out with that there. But also too, as we've seen, even in the building trades, pricing out lumber recently, in the past 2 weeks, it's gone up 25 to 30%. So,
Okay. Do you have a question?
We've tried to be as conservative as possible here, so that when you go to town meeting, after we receive our bids, we're under budget.
My only 2 cents to all that is you might want an abridged budget posted as opposed to the very well detailed estimate that Rick put out. Maybe it's the Reader's Digest version versus the every little detail, because the last thing you want is somebody to say, you only spent X versus Y. I think you want to keep it in chunks. It would be my opinion. I don't even know what we put out for budget in Lakeville. Kyle, did we put out?
We put out a very similar document to this.
You did? Okay. That was just my 2 cents. Often we don't put out, we'll group it into groups, you can even say building, engineering, contingency, or whatever, but it's up to you.
Yeah, it's kind of, we've done it both ways, and it seems like there's never a right way, because if you give them a condensed version, then, folks will always want you to drill it down to understand what makes up, that particular line item. So it's really what the town would prefer. We can certainly, shrink this up, and put it into, bigger chunks. But, lately, what we've been providing is the more detailed budgets.
Okay,
All right,
no, no, I think it's all there, so.
right.
I'd actually like the committee to take a vote on this,
On what, on the budget?
on whether you want to put the budget on the website.
Okay, is there any feeling, I honestly like, Mark's idea of,
Consolidating?
consolidating the budget a little bit into segments. It'll be much easier to read, larger print, and, get it in categories. But I can go either way. That's just my own thought. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion, we consolidate the budget into blocks.
And then,
And put it on the website?
And post it.
and post it
And
on
post
the
it.
website.
Post it,
Right.
yeah. And if anybody wants detailed information, we'd have that available for them.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that gives you the option to break it down in the future if needed.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Seconded?
Yep.
Okay, any discussion from the committee members? Okay, it has to be a roll call vote. Chief?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
I'm yes.
Yes.
Kyle, Lieutenant, Kyle? Yeah. Gene?
Yes.
Dusty?
Yes.
Yes.
Peter? Carol?
Yes.
Yes. So it's a unanimous vote to post the budget on the website. And,
So, Rick, can you group that and send it to me? Thank you.
You'll have it Monday morning.
Thank you.
okay,
And likewise, we'll send you probably Monday or Tuesday, we'll send you updated, we'll adjust that program and adjust those floor plans as suggested. I'm not gonna add the further detail with the line in those at this point, but we'll be adding in the high-level stuff. And as Kyle suggested in a text to me, we'll add some labels on the site plan to further delineate that as well.
Thank
We'll
you.
get those to you Monday or Tuesday.
Thank you.
Okay, Kyle? Since you're doing it?
okay.
Thank
Yeah, we'll get it over.
Okay, so that, let's talk for a minute about how we're gonna get this program up on the website and what we're gonna include in it. So I have two thoughts. I've got my 2 pages that I had sent to the chief of really just topics or document names that should be included. So, but before we do that, right now, when you go into the website, the documents are all there, and they're somewhat random. And do we want to create, not really a separate page, but you could create a separate document that has all of the documents that we want to put specifically for town meeting information?
So this is something that the committee
Yes.
itself, we will give you login credentials and you will build this website. So I can post things that you send me. That is the support that I can provide you.
Yeah.
Right now, your documents are on your project documents page in chronological order. They are newest to oldest. And I am removing documents that are no longer relevant. So once you've updated a version, I'm putting the new version up, so people aren't confused with 20 different versions.
Correct.
That is the level of support that my office can provide for you. If you want to create your own webpage, the committee has to do that.
Chief?
The chief has a fire department to run.
Right, but I'm looking at who has the technology to do it.
Not me.
Before we go down the website, rabbit hole, does the department have a Facebook page?
Yes.
You could add additional materials to the Facebook page with links
As
to
well.
what exists at the town website, so that people can see everything's kind of coming from a centralized location too. Because we don't want to create a whole website that would have information.
No, not
on
a
it.
separate
You can
website.
Just get it off the.
Really,
I know it's hard,
Yeah,
yeah, because
just
it's
a-
a little buried, but
page.
but it is all there. And the way it's presented now, there's descriptions too with the links, it's not just a list, so.
I'd recommend staying with the town one. That way there's one location. Be as transparent, add whatever you want to that, but one
Yeah.
location for everybody to go do and find everything would be.
one of the things that I saw on some of the other towns that I looked at is if they talked, if there was a question about a certain topic or a certain document, you insert the link directly to that document at the end of the answer to the question. So that people don't have to go looking for it. They can click here, and it takes them right to that document where they are now. You know? I mean, that's what I was thinking anyway.
So if the committee puts together a document that is a list of questions and answers, you write that.
Yes.
Yep.
You write that list of questions and answers, and you have areas that you want to cross-reference a document, we can help you do that.
Okay.
You have to, you write your document first.
Right.
Send it to me, and we will work with you on where you want. So if your answer is, the station is 6,000 square feet, look at the floor plans here,
Yes.
we can help you do that. You have to send me your document first.
Okay. All right. Okay. Do you want me to run down a list of the things that I had, or do you want us to just, I can email it and share it with you? I mean,
In regards to what?
in other words, what we want to be put on our,
You can't do that through email.
no.
No, why don't you just, if you want to discuss it, we can
Honestly,
discuss
I mean,
the list
it-
now.
it's kind of like 10 minutes, we can, I'm just going to read something off, and you're going to say yes or no, whether you want it up there, you know? And it gives us an insight. Okay, so we do a very short introduction. We do the general history of the need, how we got here, you know, the committees that were formed, who's on the committees, a quick explanation of why we had to shut down the Barlow station. I mean, everybody knows that, so it's going to be very short. But you know, these, and I based this on a lot of the questions that came from other websites. Why didn't you do it here? Why didn't you do it there? So we give them a 1 or 2 line answer to that question. We talk about the owner's project manager, who they are. So here's a question for you. Should we put their contract up, a link to their contract? Is that,
No,
or stay away from that?
no.
No.
You
Okay,
have to
No.
put that up there.
okay.
I think they realize we've already,
But we
designated.
identify them.
Yeah, their proposal is already on the website.
If the proposal is on the website?
Yes.
Okay. So we could put a link to the proposal, that's who they are?
It's already there,
Okay,
yes.
perfect.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the architect?
Already on the website.
Good, yeah, so, and we're just gonna link to it, that's, you know, and explain who these people are and what their qualifications are. Chief, what about the calls for service on the south side?
Yep.
We have that document, so we put that in there. We had today the program needs, right? The program review, so, you know, we'll put that in there. The timeline. Chief, we put something about the number of apparatus you have, and that explains why there's 4 double bays, and 7 of the 8 are already accounted for. All right? We put in the estimated timeline, and
I'm gonna have to,
we talk about,
I'll join you on Zoom in 1 second.
no problem. Chief, I would like to see something in there, like the discussion that we had today relative to the current needs today of what the town needs, but also looking into the future, you know, even though the building's gonna be there for 50 years, let's at least talk what you anticipate the needs to be over the next 10 to 15 years. And we also have to include information relative to the bridge construction, the impact that it has on the south side, in the impact to response times. So we talk about that, okay? We have a copy of the site plan, we'll get that up there. Any preliminary project plans or the concept plans, we put those up there, and we can put a slight explanation of any part, a particular part about it. We talked about the bridge. Land purchase, I say that we do that in the question and answer section. Very quick overview. The land has already been purchased. Town owns it. We're there. That's it. There's no long discussion here. But, we might want to at least address in there, Chief, that just an overview of the number of sites that we considered, the fact that we looked at this site, there's no hazardous material, septic is good, groundwater protection.
Yeah.
People are gonna be, those are the questions that people are gonna ask. So we do that. We talk, and we be very careful here, we always talk in terms of concept design at this point, because it's just a concept, it is not a final design. Certainly, I think, Chief, that in the question and answer, we should talk about the specialty requirements, decon, air apparatus, lock zones. That's important when you're talking about firefighter safety. People, especially I think in Bourne, I think we're very aware of PFAS in the water and everything else. So they would be concerned about water contamination, and we're putting out right front that you're thinking about this in advance, and you're talking about decon of so that doesn't help. It doesn't hurt the water. And then we certainly do something about estimated costs. I say we put right out there these documents that Marlene had gotten from the town.
The accountant.
What's that, the impact?
Yeah,
The impact,
Yeah.
the accountant, right. And then we explain the living quarters, all that stuff, Chief. And then what's being proposed for the town meeting. And we don't have schematic designs or whatever else. The other thing we can do is, if we can get all this done in the next 3 weeks or so, I mean, because most of the documents are there.
I would get this done now.
Okay.
Most of the stuff's already up there. A lot of the documents are there.
Right.
It's really just
Right.
touching on some of the stuff.
And if, I mean, I'm happy to take this document and write out a question for you, and then you could, if you've got the question, you can just talk about it and respond to it and put it right in. That's not gonna take very long, right?
Nope.
Okay. Then I would certainly recommend that everybody go on the website, on the internet, look at both Lakeville and Town of Auburn. They have great websites. That's exactly where I got this information from, okay? So, there's a basis for why we're asking for these questions. And is there anything there that you think that should not go up, that I said?
No, but we should probably just take someone, make a motion, I make a motion to put the list of documents that would be read up on the website to become available, because it includes the impact.
Okay, so,
Pretty much.
so would someone like to make a motion to approve, for discussion topics on the website, the material that we just covered?
So moved.
Second.
So moved, and a second. We have to take a roll call vote. Chief?
Yes.
Yes.
Rob? Wayne, yes. Lieutenant?
Yes.
Gene?
Yes.
Yes.
Dusty, yes.
Yes.
Peter? Carol?
Yes.
Okay. So,
Wayne, this is Marlene.
yes,
So I just want to be really clear. The thing you just voted is a document that you are going to be developing and sending to me for posting on the website. Is that correct?
I think some of these documents already exist, but yes, a question and answer document we can post up there, yes. Yep.
Okay. You are creating a question and answer document that will be posted onto the committee's website.
yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then adding the financial impact documents that we have, that you got us.
The tax. Okay,
Yes.
So
Yeah.
does the committee want the tax impact posted exactly as I sent it to you, or are you going to make changes in its form, in its appearance?
We can talk about that at next meeting if you
We
think
just
we
took a
need
vote
to.
on it. I think it's pretty clean.
Okay. The view of the board is to leave it as is?
Okay,
Yeah.
so it'll get posted as is.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion on that? No?
No.
Okay, so let's,
Wayne, point
Yes.
of order?
yes, point of order.
Yes. Two of our members on the select board have dropped off the screen, so we no longer have a quorum of MJ and Melissa, not
Okay.
here. So we adjourned at 2:35, just for the
Let's go. The Board of Selectmen adjourned at
35.
2:35. Thank you, sir.
Duly noted.
Duly noted. Okay.
X to the wall.
I'm the clerk.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
If you, I just checked internally here, if you decide you want to do a PowerPoint presentation as an additional document, we can set that up and populate it with Secocio's information and our information and your Q&A information.
Okay.
It would not, in the form that we would do it, it would not allow you to go to a different document from that. It would be a purely a PowerPoint, but
Yes.
we can structure that for you. I just checked in my office. We had structured Lakeville's.
I saw that, yes. That's why I asked the question before, Rick.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I was mistaken. I checked internally. So we can obviously handle that for you and get that structured. You know, we have the information from Secocio, we have our information, and with your Q&A and your tax information, we can embed that all into that one document if you'd like.
Okay, great. I appreciate that. And the chief and I will get back to you sometime next week
Okay.
relative to that. Great.
Let me know, yeah, as soon as possible on that, because the gentleman who had done it will be out the first part of April, so we need to get that roughed out beforehand.
ASAP.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Right.
And I just want to caution everybody, when you do look at those other websites, you know, the information being provided on that, the financial information, the Q&As, the tax impact, construction escalation, those are all, you know, those are all the same type of material you'll see
Right.
in your information, but what you won't see is the highly detailed building design
Correct.
You see it in other websites, because those projects were much farther along in the process than we are here.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, so that helps out a great deal. All right. Rick, did you supply any outstanding invoices? I did not get a copy of any.
No, you guys, everything's a freebies for you guys.
Oh.
Yes.
Can we quote you on that?
Can we quote you on that?
Oh, are you recording this?
Yeah.
You understand that, you understand that the newspaper is recording that, right? And, Mr. Roush, you are taking detailed notes today, aren't you?
I'm taking very detailed notes. I don't know why you people are so concerned about the estimated budget not being known to the public.
No, that's no problem.
Yep.
It's gonna be there. It's gonna be on the
It's
website.
all there.
And it's gonna be in the paper.
Okay. Great.
I'm changing my phone number.
Okay. So, no invoices, this month. Are you gonna have some for us next month, Rick?
I think we're, I'd have to check with Secotio.
Okay.
We're pretty much at the end of our tasks.
Yeah.
And until town meeting, there's really, there's not much more we're involved, doing.
Okay. Do I have a motion to, thank you, Rick. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from February 25th, 25?
So moved.
So moved by Peter,
Second.
second by Dusty. We have to take a roll call vote. All those in favor? Chief?
Aye.
Rob?
Yes.
I'm yes. Lieutenant?
Yes.
Gene?
Yes.
Dusty?
Yes.
Peter? Carol?
Yes.
Okay, so those minutes are approved. When do we want to do another meeting? I think we should definitely do it next week, so that, I'm sorry, next month, so that we, so that you see the progress on the website and get that up there. Rick, do you know when your worker is, when he's going away in April?
He leaves Wednesday the 9th.
The 9th. Okay, so we gotta have that done before the 9th.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. So if that's done on the 9th, what about the third Tuesday, the 15th? How's that for the committee members? Carol, you okay?
What date was that again?
April 15th?
Sounds like a tax day.
I better get started.
Oh, it is.
And what time?
We're gonna talk about that next. Peters, you all set?
Yep, I'm all set.
Okay. 3 o'clock?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so our next meeting will be April 15th at 3 PM in this room. Anything else that the committee members want to bring before the board? Okay.
Nope.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. We have to take a roll call vote. Carol?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Dusty?
Yes.
Gene?
Yes.
Lieutenant?
Yes.
I'm a yes.
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Chief?
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.